Good evening, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Sunday, July 5, 2026. Medical science just took a massive leap forward. We have a new 1-second bleeding powder. A massive update on obesity drug targets. Plus, major medical regulatory shifts you must know. Let's dive straight into today's top medical breakthroughs. Segment 1, the 1-second miracle powder and new biotech. Asterisk headline, Kais develops revolutionary spray-on hemostatic powder. Asterisk function, it stops life-threatening bleeding in exactly 1 second. Asterisk mechanism, instantly forms a hyperstrong hydrogel over wounds. Asterisk impact, perfect for deep, irregular, or traumatic military injuries. Asterisk comparison, outperforms traditional bandages which struggle with complex wounds. Asterisk bonus, UCLA scientists unlocked a major muscle repair secret. Asterisk discovery, a protein called NDRG1 causes slower healing in seniors. Asterisk mechanism, NDRG1 acts as a brake on old muscle stem cells. Asterisk future, blocking this protein could reverse age-related muscle degeneration. Segment 2, obesity and metabolic breakthroughs. Asterisk headline, Meet Mitch, the newly discovered protein switch. Asterisk target, scientists found that disabling Mitch supercharges fat burning. Asterisk action, disabling it explicitly blocks creation of new fat cells. Asterisk future, this is paving the way for next-gen weight loss treatments. Asterisk context, it complements the massive rise of GLP-1 combination therapies. Asterisk aging, separate research discovered why middle-age belly fat triggers. Asterisk cause, specialized stem cells appear automatically as we age. Asterisk target, these cells are hardwired to produce deep belly fat. Asterisk fitness, a 6-month study on seniors in their 70s finished. Asterisk result, high-intensity interval training, HIIT, is the clear winner. Asterisk proof, only HIIT reduced body fat without destroying precious muscle. Segment 3, Oncology, Neurology, and Global Clinical Trials. Asterisk headline, Joint regeneration tech reverses severe osteoarthritis in weeks. Asterisk method, a single experimental injection regenerates the entire damaged joint. Asterisk impact, this could entirely replace painful, expensive knee replacement surgeries. Asterisk cancer, scientists cracked melanoma secret to cellular immortality. Asterisk impact, the genetic discovery allows researchers to force cancer self-destruction. Asterisk Alzheimer's, toxic tau proteins are confirmed to hijack brain transport. Asterisk action, researchers are designing drugs to block this internal highway. Asterisk Ebola, the World Health Organization, officially launched patient enrollment for Bundibugyo virus treatments. Asterisk location, enrollment is currently active in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Asterisk therapies, testing monoclonal antibody MBP-134 combined with remdesivir. Segment 4, AI revolution and heart health calculators. Asterisk headline, the UN Independent Scientific Panel on AI drops its preliminary report. Asterisk praise, AI has successfully mapped over 200 million protein structures. Asterisk warning, regulations governing safe medical AI use are lagging dangerously behind. Asterisk cardio, University of Oxford researchers launched a new statin calculator. Asterisk purpose, accurately predicts an individual's actual risk of statin side effects. Asterisk data, confirms over 98% of users face no serious muscle risks. Asterisk stroke, brain stroke science was completely overturned this week. Asterisk correction, the main cause isn't artery plaque as believed for decades. Asterisk reality, enlarged, damaged blood vessels deep within the brain are responsible. Segment 5, Medical Policy Updates. Asterisk headline, Major Ruling by the National Medical Commission, NMC. Asterisk rule, medical colleges cannot charge MBBS fees beyond 4.5 years. Asterisk context, explicitly clarified to the Kerala High Court regarding course durations. Asterisk U.S. entry, American Board of Internal Medicine, ABAM, launches a pilot pathway. Asterisk benefit, international medical graduates can now practice directly in the USA. Asterisk rule, requires 3 years of foreign residency plus an accredited U.S. fellowship. Asterisk public health, Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda chairs a high-level review. Asterisk focus, massive vector control and diagnostic scale-up for dengue in Delhi. Forensic psychiatry. Forensic psychiatrists work at the intersection of mental health and the legal system, evaluating defendants for competency to stand trial, assessing risk of violence, and providing psychiatric care to incarcerated individuals. Their clinical opinions can determine whether someone goes to prison or a psychiatric facility. In most of medicine, a doctor's judgment shapes treatment. In forensic psychiatry, it can shape the verdict. A single evaluation can determine whether someone is tried, convicted, or committed, making this one of the few specialties where clinical opinion carries direct legal weight. MedPage Today. Medical research. Number 1 on the 10 commandments of interpreting medical studies is, no one study is sufficient, for many reasons, ranging from the vicissitudes of random chance giving results that aren't going to be replicated to more nefarious things like fraud. You're safest if you don't believe anything the first time you see it and you allow the weight of evidence to accumulate as more studies happen over time. Paper mills are essentially selling authorship at a price. In the past, those papers would tend to go to pretty low-tier journals, oftentimes even predatory journals, which essentially if you pay, you'll get published. Medscape. Heat wave in U.S. U.S. 250th Independence Day parade in Washington canceled due to extreme heat. America's flagship 250th Independence Day Parade, earlier scheduled for 10:30 a.m. in Washington, D.C., has been canceled due to an extreme heat warning. Organizers said the decision was taken to ensure the safety of participants, spectators and staff as the heat index was forecast to reach 110 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 to 46 degrees Celsius, in the District of Columbia. No alternative schedule has been announced. Pulmonology Update. Today, we are breaking down the biggest breakthroughs, regulatory shifts, and practice-changing trials in pulmonology and critical care medicine over the last week. We are covering a massive FDA decision that changes how we treat adolescent asthma, a paradigm shift in treating COPD exacerbations with biologics, a first-in-class data release for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and long-term lung cancer trial readouts that are redefining survival rates. Top story, the adolescent triple inhaler shakeup. Our top story this week focuses on a major regulatory milestone. The FDA has officially approved the budesonide/glycopyrrolate/formoterol fumarate triple inhaler, commercially known as Breztri Aerosphere, for patients aged 12 and older. This marks the very first time a single inhaler ICS/LABA/LAMA triple combination therapy has been expanded into the adolescent population for managing severe asthma. Prior to this decision, clinicians had to manage these complex, younger patients using separate controller devices, which notoriously spikes adherence issues. The approval was grounded in the pooled data from the Phase 3 CALOS and LOGOS trials, which were published in the Lancet Respiratory Medicine. The numbers are highly impressive. Adolescent patients demonstrated a robust 76 milliliters improvement in trough FEV and a stark reduction in severe exacerbations compared to standard dual therapy. This completely alters the maintenance algorithm for pediatric pulmonologists dealing with severe, uncontrolled adolescent airways. COPD and asthma, biologics and sex-based biomarkers. Moving over to chronic airway diseases, the landscape of COPD management is rapidly moving beyond traditional inhalers and shifting directly toward precision biologics. First up, AstraZeneca released highly anticipated updates from their Phase 3 Miranda trial evaluating tozorakimab. Added to an inhaled standard of care, this subcutaneous biologic successfully met its primary endpoint by significantly reducing annualized moderate to severe COPD exacerbation rates. What makes the Miranda data so critical is its consistency. It demonstrated efficacy across both former and current smokers, completely independent of their baseline blood eosinophil strata or initial lung function severity. This rounds out a trio of positive readouts for the LUNA clinical program, putting regulatory filings firmly on the horizon. Speaking of biomarkers, a major meta-analysis just published in the journal Chest tackled how a patient's sex influences asthma risk factors. By analyzing randomized severe asthma trials, researchers found that while female patients experience higher overall annualized crude attack rates, a history of prior attacks acts as a significantly stronger predictor of future exacerbations in male patients. Interestingly, type 2 biomarkers like blood eosinophils and exhaled nitric oxide showed identical prognostic utility across both sexes. This tells us that while the molecular tracking remains unified, clinical history must be evaluated through a sex-specific lens. Interventional and interstitial lung disease, a historic first for IPF. Next, let's pivot to interstitial lung disease, where we have a potentially historic first-in-class treatment on the way for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Data from the Phase 3 TETON-1 trial evaluated the use of nebulized treprostinil over a 52-week period. The drug completely smashed expectations, reducing the decline of forced vital capacity, FVC, by a whopping 130.1 milliliters compared to the placebo arm. Furthermore, it cut the risk of composite clinical worsening, defined by FVC drops, hospitalizations, or death, by 33%. But here is the real kicker for interventionalists and ILD specialists. A combined analysis of the TETON program showed a 48% reduction in acute exacerbations and achieved a significant improvement in DLCO. This is the first time an inhaled therapy has shown a significant DLCO improvement in a Phase 3 IPF trial. A supplemental NDA submission seeking priority review is expected later this summer. Meanwhile, in global interventional news, the World Association for Bronchology and Interventional Pulmonology, WABP, joined forces with European groups to publish a landmark consensus statement on medical thoracoscopy for benign pleural disease. If you manage pleural effusions, this paper outlines standardized procedural setups and is an absolute must-read. Thoracic oncology, long-term reshaping of lung cancer care. Phase 3 CROWN trial, 7-year follow-up. We also saw major data updates from the oncological side of pulmonary medicine this week, completely reshaping long-term prognosis expectations for non-small cell lung cancer, NSCLC. The gold medal headline goes to the 7-year long-term follow-up of the Phase 3 CROWN trial. 4 patients with ALK-positive advanced NSCLC, first-line treatment with lorlatinib achieved an astonishing 7-year progression-free survival rate of 55%. Compare that to a meager 3% for the crizotinib cohort. Even more critical for pulmonologists managing systemic complications, there were absolutely 0 new brain metastasis progression events recorded after the 30-month mark, highlighting lorlatinib's incredible intracranial control. We also saw the emergence of a powerful new player in the EGFR space. Phase 2 data for silevertinib demonstrated massive clinical activity in treatment-naive NSCLC patients harboring non-classical EGFR alterations, providing a highly segmented, targeted option for a traditionally tough-to-treat demographic. Critical care, targeted post-cardiac arrest diagnostics. The latest Chest journal highlights regarding post-cardiac arrest protocols. A newly published multi-center study evaluated the real-world diagnostic yield of advanced imaging immediately following out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. The findings revealed that performing early chest and abdominal CT scans identified entirely new, critical pathology in 65.2% of patients, which directly triggered immediate management changes in nearly 66% of cases. Chest CTs yielded the highest clinical utility at 92%. Simultaneously, the data showed that integrating point-of-care ultrasound, POCUS, specifically cardiac ultrasound followed by rapid thoracic scans, successfully pinpointed the underlying, definitive cause of the cardiac arrest in roughly 1 in 5 patients right at the bedside. The takeaway here is definitive, standardized, aggressive post-arrest imaging protocols save crucial time and radically optimize ICU care direction. Reference links. Adolescent triple inhaler data, review the pediatric data origins in the Lancet Respiratory Medicine Journal. Sex-based asthma and post-arrest imaging studies, read the full breakdowns via the Chest Journal newsroom and track clinical changes in the July Chest Editor highlights. Biologics and IPF clinical trial data, explore the complete Phase 3 updates and upcoming regulatory pipelines detailed by HCP Live Pulmonology. Oncology and lorlatinib survival progress. Dive into the comprehensive biomarker-driven data on the targeted oncology lung cancer Roundup. That wraps up our Pulmonology news review for this week. From adolescent triple inhalers to historic IPF readouts and 7-year lung cancer survival data, the field of respiratory medicine is moving faster than ever. Outro and CTA. Asterisk summary, from 1-second healing to AI protein maps, medicine is accelerating. Asterisk question, which of these breakthroughs surprised you the most? Asterisk comment, drop your thoughts in the comments section down below. Asterisk like, give this video a thumbs up if you found it valuable. Asterisk share it with a friend or colleague in healthcare. Asterisk adieu, stay healthy, stay curious, and I'll see you tomorrow. Disclaimer, compiled information. This content is for educational purposes and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. The audience must verify the contents before use. The creator, publisher, and YouTube will not be responsible for any harm.